Good day. I'm Professor Steve Olivier, Principal and Vice-Chancellor of Robert Gordon University, and I'd like to welcome you to our Summer Graduation 2021. It is, of course, a virtual ceremony, which is unfortunate. We would certainly have preferred it to be physical and in person, but I'm afraid it's just not possible. Nevertheless, I'm really keen to congratulate you and to welcome you to what is a fantastic day. At ceremonies throughout the world this year, there will be words used such as extraordinary, unprecedented. We've become familiar with all of those, and of course it has indeed been that sort of year. In many ways, though, university staff and students have proceeded as normal in terms of assessments. You've learned, you've sat your assessments, and you've passed, so well done. However, we continue to be challenged, both as staff, students, and as society. And these challenges have not just been severe, but they've been prolonged, and they're still ongoing, even though there is some light at the end of the tunnel. So, while it's been, in one way, a normal year, it's been difficult, but you have done exceptionally well. So congratulations and well done. So I, all of our staff, the people who have supported you, your family, friends, salute you. It's your hard work and your determination that has seen you through this year, to the point where you can proudly say that you graduated from the Scottish University of the Year. So again, well done. It's not, however, just an occasion to congratulate you, but to thank you. You've given us feedback, you've helped us to improve, and ultimately what you will have done is to help us to emerge stronger from this as well. You've helped to shape the student experience, to refine it, and improvement, and that's what we're all about, constant improvement. The result, of course, is that your university has one of the highest levels of student satisfaction in Scotland and in the UK, and also an outstanding reputation for graduate employability. So you've gained knowledge while studying at RGU, but knowledge is provisional. It changes constantly. What I hope won't change is your pursuit of it, of new knowledge, your relentless pursuit of it. We've taught you the skills to question what you learn, to seek answers, but then to move on to find the next questions as well. It's more than just a practice. It's an attitude. It's a state of mind. And we taught you to adopt it, want you to continue using it. And if you do that, you'll be an incredibly valuable asset to people that you work with or those around you if you're self-employed. Above all, I'd like to leave you with one message, and that it would be to develop, nurture and use what I call the curiosity imperative. So ask questions, answer them, improve whatever you're doing. I would, however, like to spare a thought as you graduate for those who have helped you along the way. Why not go a step further than just sparing them a thought, though? Contact them, say thank you to them in whatever means you use. However you wish to do it, show your gratitude. I would urge you to do that. Spread a little bit of courtesy and kindness. And kindness is important in what has, of course, been an extraordinary year. Before I finish, I'd like to pay sincere and deep tribute to our University Chancellor, Sir Ian Wood. This will be his last graduation as the titular head of the institution. Throughout his time as Chancellor, Sir Ian has conferred thousands of degrees upon our students, as well as many honorary graduates. He has been a pivotal figure in RGU initiatives and projects. His guidance and support over the past 16 years have been invaluable to RGU, and we owe him a sincere debt of gratitude for everything he's done for the university. So this marks the end of a remarkable era, but we very much hope that Sir Ian will remain a close friend of RGU, of our community of staff, students and alumni. And we now look forward to the future with Dame Evelyn Glennie as our new Chancellor, but with one eye on the past and the lessons that have been learned with Sir Ian at the helm. So with some light at the end of the tunnel for this year, as you embark on the next chapter in your lives, I would once again like to wish you all the very, very best and congratulations for what you have achieved. Thank you and all the best for the future.
On behalf of all students, it's our great honour to congratulate the class of 2021. We'd like to thank the Chancellor, the Principal, Board of Governors, Academic Council, Senior University Management and all members of staff at RGU. who have guided us through our most challenging times at university, and who have adapted in the most inspiring ways to support and enhance our student experience. To our families and friends, we thank you also. We thank you for your love and support. We just could not have done it without you. Today is indeed a remarkable day because it's a day of reflection of your journey, the challenges, the hurdles, the successes, and of course, what you have achieved today. So please never underestimate the challenges you have overcome and what you're capable of achieving in the future.
It is true that these uncertain times have appeared unexpectedly and tried to derail your achievements, but your resilience, your attitude, and the audacity to have hope in such a trying time is what every one of you will and should be remembered for. So dear class of 2021, it is an absolute honor to congratulate you today. I understand the hurdles that you've had to jump, the sleepless nights, the tireless hours spent on coursework and assessments while surviving a global pandemic. All that doesn't matter now. What matters is that you've made it and you're here.
Although we have thanked many people today, it's important that as individuals you take a moment to look back with pride on what you have achieved and to realise that you have reached the end of your journey thanks to your dedication and effort throughout your time at RGU. I want to wish you the best of luck for the future. Please dream big and remember what's meant to be won't pass you by. So believe in yourself, challenge your goals and take a moment to reflect on what you've achieved so far. You'll always have a home here at RGU, so please never be a stranger. Once again, congratulations to the class of 2021.
Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to say a few words as part of the university's virtual graduation for this session. As head of school, the opportunity to every year present our students at graduation is one of the great privileges of my role. The nature of this academic year has been one that we didn't expect, but despite the constraints, it has included many successes for the school, most notably the achievements of our students, in particular you and your peers, and your graduate year. All of you graduating today are celebrating achievement brought about through hard work, application, and commitment, but you should be doubly proud of your success for the way in which you have overcome the challenges presented by the pandemic that emerged at such a critical point in your studies. It is truly impressive. It has been revealing to witness and to be part of the process that you have each gone through in completing your studies. And through it, I and my colleagues in the school staff have become acutely aware of the very many skills that you all possess or have developed that complement the professional expertise that your courses have given you. In you all, I have seen tenacity, determination, adaptability, and resilience, and perhaps you have become aware for the first time of the depth of these qualities that you have in yourself. I suspect you may have learned more about your abilities than you ever imagined, and I have no doubt they will serve you well in your future career in a rapidly changing workplace. For these reasons, I believe that your graduate year is particularly special. When you commenced your studies, none of us could predict that events might unfold in this way. The way your course ended will have felt strange, especially through your inability to be with your peers. But this in no way diminishes what you've achieved. On the contrary, as I have said, and although today we cannot celebrate together in one place, this ceremony is no less important and no less a celebration. You have a huge amount to be proud of, and I'm equally proud of colleagues across our community for the support they have provided despite many challenges that they themselves have faced. We're already seeing signs of the economy beginning to build again, in time offering a great diversity of opportunity, as well as the prospect of influencing and shaping positive change. I am confident that you are very well equipped to thrive in this context and that you will make a valuable difference through the work that you do. I thank you for choosing to study with us. I congratulate you for all of your achievements and success, and I send you every best wish for continued success in your future careers. Chancellor, I present to you the graduates of the Sutherland School of Architecture and Built Environment and ask that you confer the following awards of the university on them.
Ixia Ugoldi, Doctor of Philosophy. Nazuko Demoy, Master of Science Commercial Practice for the Energy Sectors. Edward Alexander Gaunt, Master of Science Commercial Practice for the Energy Sectors.
Thanks to my friends and family for helping me get this done. Love you guys.
Anna Ocone, Master of Science Commercial Practice for the Energy Sectors. Jamie Scott Martin, Master of Science Commercial Practice for the Energy Sectors. Zoe Angela Matikudza Chipwania, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Goodluck Ehimar Ero Monsal, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Andrew James Hogan, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Sylvester Iman Lane, Master of Science Construction Project Management. C.D. Jater, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Patrick Peralade Jam, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Kadri Sahan Kaplan, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Akhil Lal, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Mohammed Lamara, Master of Science Construction Project Management.
Hello, thank you, RGU.
Samuel Tioluwani Lawol, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Loari Mohammed Rashed Elder Murdash Mustafa, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Matthew Uma Muzumba, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Suko Edwin Encube, Master of Science Construction Project Management.
Wow, what an epic ending. Thank you to my family and friends, to my supervisor, and to all. Congratulations, class of 2021.
Adorgo Obiajiri Okchukwa, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Prashant Rangula, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Ainsley Scott, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Stanley Chigazi Yukanu, Master of Science Construction Project Management. Adadamala Editeo Aid Gun, Postgraduate Diploma Commercial Practice for the Energy Sectors. Graham Alexander McPherson, Postgraduate Diploma Construction Project Management. Scott Dixon Whitelaw, Postgraduate Diploma Construction Project Management. Chukwu Wyke Abel Oakham, Postgraduate Certificate Research Methods. Mohammed Reman Shafkat, Postgraduate Certificate Research Methods. Francis Ibukan Johnson, Postgraduate Certificate Researcher Development. Evalisto Camera, Postgraduate Certificate Researcher Development. Mercy Oganusi, Postgraduate Certificate Researcher Development. Salma Asaba Bubakar, Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 2. Alexandra May Angus, Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 2. Rebecca Brewer, Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 2. Nathaniel Campbell Scott Howells, Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 2. Ying Choi Angus Chow, Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 2. Andreas Constantina, Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 2. Vasil Nikolaev Dimov. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Hannah Isabella Drummond. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Nathan Stewart Hutchison. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Gillian Alice Hart. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Lena Ihab Tawfik Hassan Carey. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Kwonyi Eleanor Ling. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Neav and McFarlane. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Damien Mayer. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Emily Fiona Marshall. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Beth Milne. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Deborah Nicol. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. David Thomas Reed. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Ronan MacLeod Reed. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Agatha Rinash. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Natasha Rush. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Cameron James Scott. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Jack William Thompson. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Yan Wang. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Sarah Marion Wood. Master of Architecture, with exemption from Rhubarb Part 2. Millie Grace Adey. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Cameron Burse. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Jordan Michael Boyne. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Ben Clark. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Dougal Emsley Cooper. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. David Copeland. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Urs Moritz Ernst. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Samantha Shirley Harwell. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Joffre Mackenzie Ray. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Alexandra Macaulay Brand. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Cameron Macaulay Brand. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Abby McCaig. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Callum Christopher McChesney. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Dominic McDermid. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Michael John McEwen. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. James Adam John Mitchell. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Stuart Alexander Mullin. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Cara Amy Much. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Paulina Parsick. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Neil Robb. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Lewis Michael Robert Steele. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Kyle David Simon. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Samuel Jose Tomlinson. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Samantha Elizabeth Thompson. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Scott Alexander Thompson. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Stuart Watson. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Megan McVeigh Wilkes. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Ross Wilson. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Lee Michael Youngson. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology Honours. Bukola Wunmi Adeoye. Bachelor of Science Construction Management Honours. Finlay Campbell. Bachelor of Science Construction Management Honours. Ryan Jonathan Odlin. Bachelor of Science Construction Management Honours. Adam Cowie. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Building Surveying, Honours. Margaret Jane Malcolm. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Building Surveying, Honours. Callum McEwen. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Building Surveying, Honours. Alexander James Tate. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Building Surveying, Honours. Megan Johnson Walker. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Building Surveying, Honours. Greg Will. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Building Surveying, Honours. Christopher Benzie. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Kyle Bestwick. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Scott John Greg Bruce. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Kenneth Cleland. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Michael Crombie. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Carla Francesca Devaney. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Greg Dunbar. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Robert Greenfield. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Owen James Hunter. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Matthew William Johnson. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Ricky Johnston. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Liam Grant Martin. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Jack Masson. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Jennifer Pirrie. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Michael Stephen Robertson. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Sean Rocher. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Ross Charles Stewart. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Jonathan Stout. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours.
I would just like to thank everybody who's helped me the past 4 years at my time at RGU. I'd like to wish all my classmates all the best with their careers and hope I'll see you around in the industry.
Lewis William Strachan. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Callum Scott Walker. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Rachel Emily Watson. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Joseph Watt. Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying, Honours. Jack Gordon Alexander Mackey. Bachelor of Science Architectural Technology. Kapali Premachandra. Bachelor of Science Architecture. Kerr Arnold. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Horacio Camillo Baccareza. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Lisa Louise Bond. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Carol Jane Bristow. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Tard Charles. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Victoria Louise Cooper. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Derry Cunningham. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Cameron Patrick Derrett Moore. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Robert David Devaney. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Michael Downey. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Cameron Duncan. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Edward George Ean. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Maro Fasilaki. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Claudia Freeburn. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Melanie Gulshan. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Tapiwanash Faith Gover. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Rachel Louise Gray. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. David Christian Gruber. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Desislava Vasilieva Kalaidzeva. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Mirjam Kuntu. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Joe O. Lewis. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Fergus Mackinnon. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Alexander McLemmon. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Megan Munro. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Cynthia Tai Ee Cheen. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Laura Sangster. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Louise Marion Scott. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Ristina Vasilieva. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Amelia Zofia Ronka. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Caleb Young. Bachelor of Science Architecture, with exemption from Rabab Part 1. Krzysztof Kostolani, Bachelor of Science Construction Management. Cameron Jones, Bachelor of Science Surveying, Quantity Surveying. Rhianne Leslie McColm, Diploma of Higher Education Architectural Technology. Tyler Sears, Certificate of Higher Education Construction Studies. Scott Arthur Barnett, Higher Apprenticeship in Certificate of Higher Education Construction. And the Built Environment.
First of all, I need to tell you this will be my last graduation speech as your Chancellor. I've very much enjoyed the role for 17 years, and particularly graduating over 25,000 students, it seems an awful lot, and having the opportunity to talk to you all. On a broader front, I've also thoroughly enjoyed my contact and involvement with the university, having worked with 5 principals over that period of time. The university has changed hugely. We now have one of the finest campuses in Scotland. We've developed to become one of the top one or two new universities in Scotland, and there's been significant positive evolution in the number of courses now on offer, with of course a focus on environment and the new energies. Aberdeen itself has changed substantially. Oil and gas was very dominant when I became Chancellor in 2004, and it has continued to serve the North East of Scotland well, but is now clearly beginning to show signs of depletion, with the new energies, on and offshore wind, hydrogen, and carbon capture and storage now coming to the fore. I very much enjoyed meeting and spending some time with our honorary graduates, people like Terry Waite, Sir Ronald Fiennes, Dennis Law, Dame Kathleen Granger, Nicola Benedetti, Rachel Corsie, Stuart McBride, and Dame Evelyn Glennie, among many others, which we are now proud to have as our honorary graduates. And we've had many VIP visits during my time. Among the recent ones, the opening of the Serene Wood building by Her Royal Highness the Princess Royal in 2015, Prince Harry's visit in 2016 to learn more about street sport, and the President of Mexico's visit in 2017 to learn more about RGU's work with the energy sector. During the 17 years, RGU has received many awards and accolades. A gold rating in the Teaching Excellence Framework, placing us in the top 20% of the best universities in the UK for the quality of our undergraduate teaching and learning. We've been awarded the best modern university in the UK. We've consistently been near the top of the graduate employment record across the UK. We've been at the forefront of introducing graduate apprenticeships and Startup Innovation Accelerator, and now we have our own Energy Transition Institute. RGU was involved in the launch of the National Subsea Centre in 2020, and right up to date, RGU was named Scottish University of the Year by the Times and Sunday Times Good University Guide. I'm also delighted that I'm being succeeded as Chancellor by Dame Evelyn Glennie. I've known her for a long time. She's a great lady, and I know she'll, as well as being a great world-class percussionist, I know she'll be an extremely able and valuable Chancellor. So, to your graduation. My warmest congratulations to all of you for successfully graduating in what has been a surreal and exceptionally difficult period, both for you and for the university. Please don't in any way let that detract from your achievements on this proud and exciting Red Letter Day. We're recognising the huge amount of work you've all done to get your degrees. Many congratulations to you all, and to the many proud mums and dads, families and friends out there proudly helping celebrate your success. I've always included in my speech some general advice intended to help you as you chart your career and your life ahead, and I feel this final speech shouldn't be an exception. So, firstly, in this incredible challenge of change world, you must be constantly proactive to new approaches and ideas. Completely out of the blue, and hopefully coming to an end is the huge COVID-19 pandemic challenge. I certainly hope the biggest health challenge that your generation will face. Certainly it's by far the biggest one that my generation has faced. Secondly, we have the transformational impact of digital technology, which is changing so many aspects of our lives. If continuous change and improvement are not at the forefront of your thinking, frankly, you're almost certainly going backwards. Standing still equals complacency, which is a bad destination and a real danger to you not realizing your potential. Thirdly, don't assume it's a fair world out there. Bill Gates speaks of 11 life unfairness rules, which should be compulsory for young people. Just one example, rule number 10, be nice to nerds. Chances are you'll end up working for one. So don't get indignant. Don't lose the place when you come up against the world's injustices, of which there are many. Be pragmatic, plan and work your way through the real world as it is, warts and all. Don't waste your time recriminating on the what-ifs of the past. Concentrate on the what-ifs of the future as you work your way towards realizing your full potential. Fourthly, don't be a spectator. Most of the things that have gone wrong in this world have gone wrong because good people stood by and let them happen. The great explorer Ernest Shackleton defined optimism as moral courage. I urge you to be morally courageous. Be a maker, be a doer, be a creator, or whatever. Don't just sit back and criticize, because that's far too easily, and frankly should be way beneath you. As from today, you are no longer a spectator. You have graduated into the real world and are now endorsed and engaged as a player. There's a very wise saying, inside many an old person is a young person asking what happened. What have I done with my life? Don't be that person. Fifthly, don't be afraid to make mistakes and don't fear failure. I've lost count of the number of mistakes I've made in my business career. The key thing is to recognize them quickly and rectify them. Don't ever hide from your mistakes. You'll just compound them. Some failure in life is inevitable unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. Sixthly, think global. Some of the biggest problems we're currently facing in our country, the economic financial challenges, COVID-19, the availability of energy, climate change, and the threat of terrorism, these are all global and need global solutions. And Scotland, or whatever country you come from, is not the centre of the world. Our world has no centre. It's a matrix of countries, religions, ethnic groups, and cultures. Seventhly, although global business is highly competitive, you absolutely don't need to compromise on your principles and ethics. Ethical business practice and corporate social responsibility is a key part of Robert Gordon University. Don't ever in business sacrifice your self-respect or your integrity. Penultimately, when you've chosen, go for it. Don't ever underestimate your own potential. It's incredible what the human spirit can do if you really believe in yourself and set your sights high. Right now you're focused on getting a good job and taking the next step in your life. But each of you should have a dream based on ambitious goals, well in excess of your reasonable expectations. Really challenge your aspiration and don't let cannot dominate your vocabulary. I was Wood Group's first employee in the oil and gas industry in 1970. I set off with energy and zeal, but frankly not at all sure where I was going or how I might get there. When I retired from Wood Group, now 9 years ago, it employed 43,000 people working in 50 countries around the world. You can climb mountains and cross wide seas. And finally, in this very troubled world, be responsible, caring and tolerant. Our planet and its different inhabitants, whether God or science made, is truly an incredible miracle. If you have any doubt, just watch a David Attenborough Blue Planet series or the Brian Cox Planet programs. The truth is, we are unbelievably privileged to have time here. What is quite unforgivable is that our lack of tolerance of race and creed and our inability to balance wealth and well-being are abusing that privilege and possibly irretrievably damaging our ecosystem and our children's future. Different religions, races and cultures must be prepared to live together and support each other in a generally more caring and tolerant society. And lastly, I'm going to tell you something you may not want to hear. In the context of the global world we live in, you are very privileged. Your intelligence, your talents, your capacity for hard work, the excellent education you've earned and received gives you unique status and unique responsibilities. To whom much is given, much is expected. And the way you live your lives, the values you adopt, the example you set, all will have an impact way beyond your borders. With privilege comes responsibility, and I urge you to discharge it altruistically and caringly. If you choose to use your status and influence to raise your voice on behalf of those who don't have a voice, if you choose to identify not only with the powerful, but also with the powerless, if you retain the ability to imagine yourself into the lives of those who don't have your advantages, then you could achieve great things with the power to change our world for the better. Once again, we're really sorry you've been unable to enjoy a normal graduation experience, but don't underestimate the importance of this day. This is your day, a very important day in your lives, and the opportunity is now open to you. Please enjoy a well-earned celebration with your family and friends, and let my final words as Chancellor be to tell you, you are the future, and I wish you all the very best of luck. Thank you very much.